Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on which coast you're on, or good other time of day if you're not in the US here. My name's Tom Geis. I'm the founder of GD&T Basics and Engineer Essentials. And I'm here to present to you today the 3 things your production and quality departments wish you knew about your engineering drawings. So just real quick, I like to always say who this is for, just to make sure that you're in the right place. This is mainly targeted at professional design engineers, drafters, CAD operators, people who are creating new part drawings. It doesn't need to be, just these 2-dimensional prints. It could be model-based definition drawings. It could be 3D models with annotations on it. But really focused on those engineers who are design responsible for parts in a production environment. If your parts are going on to be made in some way, that's really who this presentation is for. It's really not for like the R&D side of things who are in a prototype phase with no finalized 3D model where you're not really handing it off to production yet, or you're not handing it to supply or whoever you're handing it off to. And it's typically not for, hobby CAD drafters creating civil parts. What I'm going to get into today is really a lot of the things that we hear from production and quality departments that they wish their designers of the parts actually knew. So that's who this presentation is for today. So let's get into it. The 3 things that I'm going to be covering today are going to be aware of what is on your prints and the basic framework behind just how to work with an engineering drawing. You need to understand that everything must have a tolerance, but you should be giving production as much room as possible. We want to make sure there's tolerances on everything. And don't put something on a print unless you have a clear idea, or at least a basic idea, of how it will be inspected. So first of all, a little introduction. Who am I? I'm the president and founder of Engineer Essentials. My background is in the automotive world. I worked in BMW manufacturing, the plant here in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I also worked for ZF Transmissions on their 8-speed and 9-speed transmission line. I was a design engineer there for differentials. After working in the automotive field for about 12 years, I started my own company to teach GD&T and engineering drawing principles, specifically on the communication between design, production, and inspection. So we have our product line called GD&T Basics, which is really an introduction to engineering drawings all the way through very advanced design for manufacturability and GD&T. There's a couple of companies that we work with, some of the recognizable names. We work with companies all around the world, everywhere from big giant corporations all the way down to small machine shops who are just trying to get better at their production processes or designs. So we have a range of products that we work with, everything from automotive to biomed, 3D printing, anything in between. So we've got a good wealth of knowledge between me and all of our trainers at our company. So let's get right into it, though. The 3 things your manufacturing quality departments wish you knew about your drawings. The first thing is to be aware of what is on your prints and the basic framework behind working with engineering drawings. This is kind of a precursor to everything else. You need to know how to read an engineering print. And it's very obvious to production quality and other designers, especially if you don't know the basics of interpreting production level prints. So the big thing to understand, especially for those of you who may have not graduated yet, or those of you who are getting into engineering, is the engineering drawing is the #1 way you'll be sharing information as a designer for production parts. If you're communicating in any way with production quality, your suppliers, your customers, you're going to be dealing with prints like this. And you need to know how to read them. You need to know the basics of picking one up and being able to look at it right away. But you should also understand that a model alone is never enough for production. It's great if you can CAD model this beautiful thing and make it all assemble and look really pretty, but it doesn't mean anything if it can't be produced, or if it can't be made, or if no one can understand what the limits of that part actually are to be able to build it in the real world. And that's what I'm trying to get across with this presentation will be, these are the things that production and quality really need to be able to understand and trust in the designs that you're creating. So every designer or really in any role that interacts with engineering parts must really know these two big factors here. There's the rules for reading prints. Hopefully most of you know how to just pick up a print and, know what's going on, title block, bill of material, third angle, first angle type of views, that sort of thing. But then the most overlooked area is really how to interpret tolerances, or really what the limits of your part actually need to be. And really both of these come into how are you going to make decisions with this information? After all, when you're a working engineer or working designer, that's what your company wants you to be able to do. They don't want you just to be able to understand. They want you to be able to make decisions with it. 80% of the real on-the-job requirements that we see with designers relate back to having a core understanding of that company's engineering prints and what is communicated on them. So I wanted to give you a little cheat sheet or a little information on how we break down our teaching of engineering drawings. And really, we have two separate frameworks that we teach when we're covering engineering drawings. The first is this one. It's what we're calling the Engineering Drawing Basics Framework. In this framework is really how to pick up a drawing and begin to work with it. So if you are going to be working in any capacity with drawings, you need to be able to understand these 4 core systems that are involved within an engineering drawing. Those are the data information system. This is really information needed from first look at the print and how it displays or shows production overall. Next is the feature visualization system. This is really how things are geometrically represented, whether you have a 3D model that's annotated in model-based definition, or you have a 2D blueprint. Either way, there's a feature visualization system that you have to use when you're interpreting them. Next is what I call the non-geometric callout system. These are your notes and your symbols and non-geometric requirements that you have on your print. It could be the material specs. It could be functional tests that you have to do, surface roughness, things like that you have to be aware of that are on your prints. And then finally, one of the largest areas of an engineering drawing is really the tolerancing framework, because this is really going to establish the limits for your production department and especially for your quality and inspection departments that are going to be inspecting these things. This is really what your suppliers care about when you hand over a print, is what are your limits and can I hold them? Can I produce a part for you every time that's accurate and repeatable and is following the rules that you have put on the drawing? So these are the 4 systems that make up really any engineering drawing. Now, there's a lot of nuance to this. There's a few different ways that these can fit into. But really, if you understand these 4 core systems, you can really pick up and work with any engineering drawing. And let's kind of go a little bit more into detail here. I've got an engineering print here of a clevis bracket. This is a clevis bracket for a dump truck piston that we've designed. This is our own design based off of one of our customers' similar designs. We use a lot of our designs based off similar products of our customers. Obviously, we don't copy our customers' designs, but we do like using similar parts so that we can teach, real world type situations. So you can see here, I've kind of highlighted each of the systems that's on the prints. Here we have the data information system. When you pick up a print, you should be able to identify the title block, part number, all the rules behind it. And each company that you work at will obviously have different things in this title block. It may be in a different location. By default, it's supposed to be in this lower right area here. You also have a revision table here, understanding, what the revision level is for the print. Am I working with the right thing? Am I sending them the right drawing? That sort of thing. So the data information system is really like, hey, what is this thing that I'm looking at? And what is that logistics type information that I need to move on from? Next is the graphics and visualization system. And really, those are our lines and views. Many of you probably have taken some sort of print reading course, either in college or out of college. But this is still the way, these 2D prints are the way that a vast, vast majority of people communicate engineering designs. You will start to probably see more and more people get into model-based definitions, in which I would have the 3D model with all of these tolerances and annotations involved with that as well. But in our experience working with hundreds of companies and tens of thousands of different engineers, we're talking 80 to 90% are almost exclusively working with this type of drawing, the 2D print still. And even if you, as maybe an OEM or a large company, are dealing with more model-based definition or complex assemblies, I would guarantee your suppliers are still working at this level, and you will have to communicate to them using some sort of 2D drawing like this. So understanding how views and lines are represented on print are a must. You have to know what's going on. You have to be able to visualize this part in your head. Moving on, this is kind of our catch-all system that we have. It's really all the non-geometric notes and callouts and things like that on the print. Each print could be drastically different. If we had a notes section down here with maybe some testing data, or we had some, maybe a coating that had to go on this part, or a plating, that would be some sort of requirement, a non-geometric callout. But it could also be things that are much more common, such as surface roughness that we have right here on this bearing surface, all the way down to just understanding that that this radius right here applies 4 times. This 4x is a very common notation that you'll see on many drawings, and be aware of how information is really communicated. Non-geometric information is communicated. And finally, we have really the biggest system, and the system where we teach the most about, because not many people are taught this on a college level, is really the tolerancing framework behind a drawing. And this is really the geometric limitations of where your part needs to be produced when it is made for production. What are the limits? How far from perfect does this actually have to be? Because when you make a CAD model, you're making the perfect version of that part, but it will never, ever turn out that way, ever. And the cheaper your part is to make, the more off it might be. And depending on how many people are viewing it, you have to maintain as the designer to make sure that your part will still work, despite the fact that there are thousands of different variations of this part that could be produced. I have highlighted just a few of them on here, which are geometric specifications. When I say geometric specifications, I'm not just talking about these GD&T symbols that a lot of people think about. I'm also talking about just the width of the part. That's a geometric specification. How big is the thing? I have surface requirements here. I have some datums. I have orientation requirements. I have some radii and things like that. Those are all geometric specifications that we need to give some limits to. And we're going to get into that in our next section a little bit more, though. But as you can see, there is a lot of blue on here, and a lot of people do not understand this concept of the part. And that's one thing that tends to frustrate production and quality, because this is exclusively, well, not exclusively, but this is almost exclusively what they're focused on, because this tells them, did they hit their mark or did they fail? They have to remake the part. So this is our engineering drawing framework. As I said, the tolerancing framework itself is much bigger. And in our courses, when we teach engineering print reading, is our first course that we usually teach, we don't go as deep into the tolerancing framework. But in our GD&T fundamentals course, as well as our GD&T advanced course, that's where we tend to expand a lot more into this tolerancing framework, because very few people are aware of this. This is the primary means of communicating information between design, production, and inspection. So really, our engineering drawing basics framework breaks down into these 4 sections, but then our GD&T basics framework, as we call it, is really narrowing down into that tolerance framework here. So really what we're doing is we're zooming in on this now and saying, how do we control tolerances on our print? And this is we call this our GD&T basics framework. It's the framework we use to teach. It's our proprietary way that we show how tolerances are applied and interpreted on a drawing. I'm not going to get too deep into this right now, but I just want to show you that there are a few basic rules that we apply when it comes to applying tolerances. But the good thing about any tolerances on your print and when you're interpreting them is there's really only 4 ways you can control anything geometrically. You can control its size, how big it is. You can control its location, where it physically is on the part or with respect to other features. You can control its orientation, what angle it's at, which is kind of a, derived version of location, right? You have location, translation, and then you have orientation. And then finally, we have form. Form is just another word for shape. How round is this cylinder instead of how big it is, essentially? How well does it roll? So those are the only 4 ways you can control something geometrically. And everything in GD&T, everything that we teach is showing how to control one or more of those 4 elements. So this is the framework of how every engineering print is structured, whether it's a 2D print, a 3D print, you name it. There's really 4 fundamental sections here that you need to know to understand how to read a print, as well as a deeper framework within tolerancing that can break down even further about how you're giving your requirements on what production and quality need to do with your design.